Let's have a little look at a supercomputer's championship table predictions for the end of the 23-24 season. Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today we are looking at a supercomputer's championship table predictions for the end of the season come May. This has been done by the football analysts at BetVictor, and it will be interesting to see how accurate this table is when we look back at it at the end of the season. As we go through the table, guys, if you support a team in the championship, do let me know your thoughts on the supercomputer's predictions. I would imagine that the supercomputer uses all kinds of stats and information to try and calculate this table. Like I say, do share your thoughts on the table prediction from the supercomputer, and just remember, this isn't my prediction before anyone comments saying, how dare you have this team in this place. This isn't my opinion, we're just looking at a supercomputer's table. So then finally, before we get into the teams in the 1-24 championship table, just a reminder to hit that like button. We'll go for 500 likes on this video. If we can do that, then we can maybe do one for the Premier League and League One and League Two. And do make sure, of course, you are subscribed as we start pushing towards 41,000 subscribers. So make sure to like and subscribe as it is free to do. Let's have a look at the predictions. So then starting with the table from bottom to top, we have the bottom three of Sheffield Wednesday, Queen's Park Rangers and Rotherham United, the current bottom three as of right now. They don't predict any of these three sides to get to 40 points. Now, it has varied over recent seasons in the championship, the required points to stay in the championship. Sometimes you can get away with hitting the low 40s, sometimes you've had to get about 50 points. As you can see, these three sides are not even going to get to 40 points with this prediction from the supercomputer, and I can't recall a season where anyone stayed up with 34 or 37 points. To be honest, I'm actually quite surprised they reckon Sheffield Wednesday might get up to 34 points. Now, I haven't got anything against Sheffield Wednesday, it'd be great to see them stay up, but we've got to this far into the season already and they haven't won yet. The only change from this bottom three of what it looks like right now is Rotherham are actually 23rd right now and QPR are 22nd. The supercomputer reckons those two will swap places, but they're going with the current bottom three to be the bottom three come the end of this season, and those will be the three sides going down to League One. So then the next four teams after that, the four teams directly above that bottom three are Huddersfield Town, Plymouth Argyle, Watford and Blackburn Rovers. Let's start with Huddersfield Town, who get to 49 points from the supercomputer's table predictions, and that's a 12-point gap over 22nd place Rotherham. So the supercomputer doesn't think there's going to be a close relegation battle this season. They reckon it'll be cut and dry, with those three sides being quite considerably worse than any teams above them. Above Huddersfield you find Plymouth. Plymouth to get 50 points would be a decent season. When you go back to the start of this season, if you'd have told a Huddersfield Town fan or a Plymouth fan about just staying up, they'd have probably taken that. In my opinion, I suppose it's actually a pretty decent season for Plymouth Argyle. I personally right now would put them higher than 20th, but to get 50 points in their first season back in the championship, and they've already, picked up some great wins at home, I think that's where they will get the bulk of their points, at home park. But to stay up would be a decent achievement, and maybe they could push on the following season. Above those two though, you get Watford and Blackburn, and this is quite a considerable drop off. They are both currently low down in the championship table, and the supercomputer doesn't think either of these sides will rise up the table. In fact, Blackburn Rovers have dropped one place as they currently sit 17th down to 18th. Watford have moved one place up from 20th to 19th, but this would be two massively underwhelming seasons. You will come to see when we get to the next few teams though, despite Watford and Blackburn being in 18th and 19th in the supercomputer's table prediction, they're only a matter of points away from being in that top half. They reckon it's going to be a really congested season in the middle. So then on to the next three teams that the supercomputer has predicted in the table, and there's a couple of surprising ones in here. Birmingham City, Stoke City, Preston North End. We'll start with Birmingham, who currently sit in 6th place, and obviously they are a big talking point in the championship at the moment during this international break with the change in management. The supercomputer reckons it's going to go badly as they're going to drop down 11 places from where they currently sit in the table and pick up 59 points come the end of the season. Now, in any of the previous regular seasons in the championship, I wouldn't have raised my eyebrows at seeing Birmingham City in 17th place, but this time round their good start does look a little bit more sustainable. Obviously, as we said, with the new ownership and the players that they brought in, I thought their business was really good. The optimism coming into this season for me was justified, and as we've seen, they've had a good start. I do think Wayne Rooney is a big talking point, and maybe 6th might be a bit of a stretch this season, but to see them drop down to 17th would be wild. Do share your thoughts if you think the supercomputer will be right with that one. Next up, you've got Stoke City. Now, out of these three teams that we've just brought up, they're the only one moving in the right direction, as Stoke City currently sit in 21st place right now. I would be surprised if Stoke finished 21st. Do you know what? When I look at this, I don't think this is maybe a terrible prediction for Stoke City. As I say, I don't think they finish 21st. I do think they rise up the table, but this slow start might cost them a top half finish, and they have finished in the bottom half in quite a few of the recent seasons. I think it's in every season since they've been back in the Championship. Stoke fans, let me know your thoughts down below on a 16th place finish. That's where the supercomputer has put you. And then we've got Preston North End, who have dropped 12 places, which I believe is the biggest drop in this entire video from where the teams currently are now to where the supercomputer has put them for the end of the season, down to 15th with 60 points on the board. Now, there's no doubt about it, Preston have had a fantastic start and their form has tailed off a little bit going into this second international break. Preston have already got 20 points on the board after 11 games, and the supercomputer reckons they only get another 40 in the next 35 games. That's basically like going from 2 points a game down to 1 point a game, and that would see you drop quite far down the table. I can go along with Preston North End dropping down the table as a prediction, as they currently sit third, but their form is bad. They're only 3 points above 7th place, but this seems really extreme from the supercomputer. Do share your thoughts though. It is common to see in any league a team can have a really good start and then a really rotten second half of the season. Could that be Preston? So then moving on to the supercomputer's mid-table teams, we've got Cardiff City, Hull City, Norwich City and Millwall. These sides I would consider as playoff chasers. All four of these teams are currently outside of the Championship top 6 as of speaking right now, and they're all in the top half bar Millwall. Cardiff have had a really decent run recently, and it's really changed my opinion, I must say, as well. I'd be intrigued to know what the supercomputer's original prediction was for Cardiff City if we go back to the start of the season, but those 4 wins in a row has absolutely blasted them away from the picture down near the bottom, and they just don't look like a team that will get sucked back into it. If anything, they've got to be looking up the table. This would be a bit of a drop from where Cardiff City do sit right now. They are 8th as of recording in October. It'll be interesting to see. 14th, can anyone see that for Cardiff City? Hull City, a similar one to Cardiff. They currently sit just outside the playoffs right now, and the supercomputer reckons they finish right in the middle of the table. I right now think Hull City make the top half. Top 6 is going to be tough, but maybe they're in the conversation. The supercomputer maybe just slightly underestimating them or slightly undervaluing them compared to my thoughts on Hull City. I mean, as you can see, they're level on points with Norwich, who are 12th place, so they're technically top half, basically right in the middle of the table with this prediction. And it'd be interesting to see as we come on to the next sort of bunch of clubs and the teams in that top 6. You'll see Hull City are less than 10 points away from it, but yeah, the supercomputer is putting Hull City in 13th place with their prediction. Do let me know if you agree with that or disagree with that if you are a Tigers fan. As you can see, Norwich City are in the top half, just level on points with Hull City here, but this wouldn't be great. I know it's a 1 place improvement on where they finished last year when they finished 13th in the Championship, but it's still not great, is it? Norwich currently sit in 7th place as of recording right now, so this would be a 5 place drop down the table. I do find it interesting though, because the theme I'm getting from this table so far, and as we'll come to see, is the supercomputer is maybe using a little bit of last season as what to go off for this season, as Norwich were kind of closer to the playoffs and then right near the end they dropped down the table. And could that happen again? Do let me know down below. And as you see, Millwall in 11th place, not in their customary 8th place this time round, but not a million miles away from it with 64 points. Maybe the supercomputer is putting that down to their slow-ish start to the season. It's not really been that slow, but it's not been fast-paced. They're basically right in the middle, aren't they? Or just underneath that in 15th place right now. This would be a 4-place climb though from where they currently sit. Millwall fans, do let me know what you think down below as well. Gary Rowett, is he the man to take you forwards? And what's acceptable? I'm really intrigued to know that, because there's been so many seasons where Millwall have knocked on the door but not quite got into the playoffs, but it is going to be difficult for any team to make the playoffs this time round. Is the expectation top 6, or would you be happy with top 8 or top 9 again? Do let me know down below. So then things are getting interesting as we move even closer to the playoffs. We've got Bristol City, Swansea City, Southampton and West Brom right on the fringes in the supercomputer's predictions. Let's start with Bristol City now. This would be a really big improvement. Bristol City currently sit in 14th place in the Championship table right now, so this is a 4-place climb on where they currently sit, and I can maybe go along with this. I do think it's going to be really difficult for any team to get into that top 10, but Bristol City do already look a little bit better than what they did last season, and I've mentioned that once or twice already. They've got some decent players, some decent goal scorers, and as I've said, continuity with the manager. Can they just be that little bit more consistent and sustain a playoff push? As you'll come to see, they're a matter of points away from making the playoffs with this prediction from the supercomputer. Bristol City fans, do let me know if you agree with this down below. Is it being too optimistic, or do you think you could actually finish higher than this? Next up, you've got Swansea City. Swansea currently sit in 12th place in the current table, so they're right in the middle of the pack, and they are currently trending up the table with 4 wins in a row. And the supercomputer reckons they carry that on through the season. It is still early, so there's going to be plenty of twists and turns. Swansea might peak up towards the playoffs and then peak back down again, or they might even drop back into the bottom half and then push forwards again. But overall, to get a 9th place finish, pretty similar to last season, but on the whole, pretty good, I guess. All of us that support a team that are in this discussion would love to be that team that sneaks into 5th or 6th place. But Swansea City to finish 9th again, I think is a good season when you put down to the fact that they had a slow start because of the big transition. And, you know, if you take away Russell Martin, who I thought was a decent manager, but maybe it was time to change, and Joel Perreault as well, it was a big rebuilding job. And it does look right now that Michael Duff is getting this team moving, and they've got the likes of Jerry Yates who can fill in with the goals. Swansea City for a top 9 finish from the supercomputer. In 8th place, we find Southampton. Maybe a little bit of a surprise here that the supercomputer doesn't think over the 46 games Southampton get in that top 6. Now, Southampton do currently sit in 10th place in the Championship right now, so this is a very subtle improvement on where they are right now. But for where they are in the Championship table right now, I'd put down to inconsistency, and I do think when everyone's gelling and everyone's clicking when we get to that middle part of the season, it'll be the teams with quality and bigger squad depth that should rise to the top. Now, I'm not saying top of the league. Without sounding too dramatic, I do think that's gone for a lot of teams this season already. The top 2 are blasting away right now. But I do think Southampton still have a good chance of the playoffs. The supercomputer just thinks they fall short in 8th place with 68 points. And then in 7th place, we've got the Baggies, West Bromwich Albion, with 71 points. And when we come on to the teams just above them, you'll come to see how close the supercomputer really thinks they will be to making the playoffs this season. West Brom do currently sit in 11th in the Championship table right now, so this would be a 4-place improvement as we go through the season. And yeah, if this was down to me, I probably would put them in a similar position. I think they're that team that's there or thereabouts. I'm not ruling out that they could make top 6. If they're not going to make it, they'll be close, and that's what we've seen over previous seasons. And so far this season, been pleasantly surprised. They picked up some decent results. Another team that's probably just looking for that consistency. The supercomputer has West Brom in 7th with 71 points. If you're a Baggies fan, do share your thoughts down below in the comments. Let's move on to the teams making the playoffs. Let's start with just 6th, 5th and 4th. We have Coventry, Sunderland and Middlesbrough, the 3 playoff losers from last season, which I find quite interesting. And as you can see, looking at the points there, I did say it was going to be close for the West Brom fans. The supercomputer reckons West Brom agonisingly, painfully miss out on goal difference. They reckon Coventry pip West Brom to 6th place, both sides tied up on 71 points. So this means that the requirements to make the playoffs this season are slightly higher. Last season, Sunderland snuck into 6th place with 69 points. As you can see, Coventry sneaking in there with 71. I do think Coventry City have a good chance. I think we either just make it or we just don't. I would say right now between 5th and 8th. That's probably where I'd put us, so I don't think it's a totally terrible prediction from the supercomputer. I know lots of people will say, yeah, you're going to say that, Matt, because you're a Coventry fan. But as I've said, you know, we've spent money this season and we do tend to end the season better than we start it. So I don't think this is a totally terrible prediction from the supercomputer. I am intrigued to know other Coventry fans' thoughts down in the comments. Obviously, lots of Coventry fans watch this channel. Do comment down below your thoughts. Sunderland in 5th place, a 1-place improvement on where they finished last year, a 1-place drop on where they currently sit in the Championship table right now. 73 points. This would be a great season, of course. If Sunderland just make the playoffs again, it's a fantastic season. To do it in their first season back in the Championship was incredible. To do it in back-to-back seasons would be incredible. And they have got the minerals to do it. They've got some fantastic players. This time round, obviously you can say there's no Amad Diallo, but they were also hit with injuries last season. It is a slightly different setup. I do like Joe Bellingham. Obviously Tony Mowbray was the manager that got them over the line into the playoffs last season, and they've got that passionate fan base behind them as well. Sunderland fans, what do you reckon? Do let me know your thoughts down below. You've got the minerals to do it. You've already had a good start, which stands you in good stead. Let me know down below if you support the Black Cats. Next up, we've got Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough, the biggest movers up the table from where they currently sit in the Championship table right now to where the supercomputer reckons they'll finish at the end of the season, and that is a 12-place improvement from 16th right now up to 4th, and I don't totally disagree with that. Yes, it's a big jump up the table and there's plenty of good teams to get past, but they're certainly trending in the right direction now. They've definitely found their rhythm. They're scoring goals for fun, and Michael Carrick did it last season. As I said in a previous video, they were so strong in that middle third of the season. They were a little bit shaky towards the end, and they obviously didn't have a great start under Chris Wilder, but it looks as if there'll be a similar theme here going off the supercomputer's predictions, that Middlesbrough continue to blast up the table with their current good form, and they get to 4th place. So then on to 3rd place and the top 2. Who's going to make automatics? Let us reveal them all together. The supercomputer reckons Leeds United finish 3rd, Ipswich Town in 2nd, and Leicester City winning the league quite comfortably. As you can see, Leeds United get up to 3rd place in the supercomputer's predictions, and they close the gap a bit on Ipswich. Obviously right now Ipswich have a very healthy gap over all the teams 3rd and below, but the supercomputer reckons Leeds United just fall short. 83 points would be an incredible season, and I do think Leeds United get top 3. In my opinion, I think this probably will be the top 3. I'm not 100% sure about the order. I'd probably have Leicester first. I'm maybe a bit unsure about Leeds and Ipswich. Can Ipswich sustain this really good start? Will Leeds United get some really good rhythm throughout the rest of the season? Either way, certainly share your thoughts down below. Leeds United getting up to 83 points and being top of the playoffs, but just falling short of automatics. And the supercomputer reckons Ipswich get over the line with 89 points, which is incredible. If Ipswich Town genuinely go from finishing 2nd in League One to finishing 2nd in the Championship, that is one of the biggest stories of the 23-24 season across all divisions. I know there was a bit of hype about them coming into this season, but let's not rain on their parade. McKenna has done fantastic so far this season, and the supercomputer reckons he rides it out throughout the season and gets them a top 2 finish. And we'll come on to the top team, Leicester City, predicted to get 105 points. I wasn't entirely surprised to see the supercomputer backing Leicester to win the league. I do right now. I think most of you watching fancy Leicester City to win the league, but 105 I think would be the 2nd most in Championship history in its formation. Might be the 3rd most, but that would be incredible. 16 points clear of Ipswich in 2nd place, and 22 points clear of 3rd place Leeds United. They'll probably get promoted in March at this rate. But there you go, guys. That wraps up the supercomputer's predictions 1 to 24 come the end of the Championship season. Do let me know what you think of it down below. As I say, it's not my prediction, so don't hate on me. If you hate on the table, that's fair enough. Share your thoughts whether you like it or don't like it, and do make sure, of course, to drop a like and subscribe. We'll be back with another video soon. Peace out.